So right here, this is the installation process by 64. Once you click on that, the green arrow is going to activate. Click on the green arrow to move it to this box right here. Once you do that, go to the next one and click the plus button and go to applications. Under applications, select my workbench, because that is what we're going to be using. You need three things here. You need MySQL Server, you need Workbench, and you need Shell. So click on MySQL 8.024 by 64. It's going to bring you to this next box. Next, you go to the third one, which is MySQL Shell. Click on the plus sign and go straight to MySQL Shell 8.024 by 64 and push it to the side. Once you're done, click on next. Right. So you have to make sure you have all of them, as we see right here, all the three, and then click on next. Then it takes you to the next step. You have all the three products right here, and we are ready to execute. Click on execute. It's going to start executing the three of them. Then once it's done executing, you see the green buttons checked right here. Then click on next. As you can see right here, it says installation done. That's the status. Installation done. Then click on next. Then it takes you to this place, which means you're ready to install on your local computer. As you can see, the three of them right here. Click on execute. So once we are done with that, click on next and go to step 18. Now, this is where we are, product configuration. You're going to see your product right here. Click on next. What I am showing you right now is the exact process you're going to go through if you're installing on Windows, step by step. I did not miss a single step. It is what you're going to see. So if you're trying to install and you can't find any of these steps, then something is wrong. You have to start all over again. But these are the steps from beginning to the end. Then click on next after that. So step 19 brings you to product configuration again. Click on next. Step 20, type and networking. Make sure you check that everything is all right. Do not touch whatever you see. Just leave it as it is and click on next. But make sure the port is 33.06 and click on next. Do not touch anything. Just leave it as it is. And then it brings you to authentication method. And do not touch anything here, but make sure that the first one is selected to recommend your password. Click on next, because we're going to put a password to go into MySQL. This is where you put your password. Select a password that you will remember. Because every time you sign out of MySQL and you try to sign back in, you're going to have to put your password. You can add user if you want, but I recommend you don't add user at this stage. Just stay where you are and leave it the way it is. Then click on next. Right, where it will bring you to Windows service. Do not touch anything on this page also. Just click on next and keep moving. And then we're gradually getting to the end of the installation. It brings you to a configuration page. Just click on next. You don't need to do anything. It's going to do whatever it's supposed to do by itself. Just click execute. Then it takes you to the next page, step 25. As you can see, when you clicked that execute, automatically it configured all the applications and the files for you. And then we are almost done. Click on finish. Make sure everything you're seeing is the same with what I have on this page from the beginning till the end. Click on finish. When you get to this place, it's going to bring you right here. Do not do anything. Just click on next. Then it comes to step 27. and it brings you to installation complete. That means you are done with your installation and this package is already on your local computer. Just click finish. Once you click finish, it's going to bring you to this page. So this is the last page, and this is where we're going to be starting from today. Make sure you remember the password that you put, because every time you click on local instance, it's going to ask you for your password. So you put your password and click OK. Once you do that, it's going to bring you into the software, and we can now start building whatever we want to build inside the software. I'm going to take a minute to check if I have any comment in the comment section so I can answer any question. If not, I'm just going to jump right into the presentation and the business of today. So that is the installation process. I think it's been shared again in the comment section. Please be sure to check that. So we go to the presentation and then we continue from where we stopped last week. Right. Just give you one moment. Okay, I believe we can all see my screen right now. So today I'm going to be talking about a few things like I mentioned earlier. Okay, let me know if you have a question, just put it in the comment section and while I run through my presentation. So there are few things you need to know before you start analyzing your data. Last week, we talked about why you need to be a data analyst, what are the things you should expect, what are skills you need, and how much do you expect to earn as a data analyst, even from the scratch as a beginner. And we talked, excuse me, we talked about a few things that you should prepare yourself, yourself for as you learn SQL, because SQL is one of the most required skills for data analysts, because right now, aside visualization, which we're going to be doing next week, SQL and Excel are the most powerful tools that you need as a data analyst. So few things you need to bear in mind when you want to analyze any data for any company. There must be a KPI. What exactly are you trying to achieve? When a data is dumped on your feet or in your face or on your face, whatever it is, there's a problem that you need to solve. So what exactly do you want to do? That is the KPI. And there's always a problem. Data analysts are problem solvers. That's why they are very important to every organization. They need data analysts to be able to see what is going on and provide a solution to it. So there must be a problem that you need to solve. Now, what are the tools you're going to be using? And this is one of the tools that you will be using. One thing is for you to know what to do. Another thing is for you to know how to do it. The what is the problem. The how is the execution process. And that is where you come in. When you know what to do, you then bring to the table the tools you will need to solve a problem. It's just like you have a product. If you have a product and nobody is buying, your job is not done. Your job is done when somebody is buying a product. And the product will not sell itself. You have to take action. Take it to where it will be seen. You take it to the channel. You take it to the store. You load it on e-commerce for people to see. And then you take another action. You advertise to people that are, hey, I have this product I'm selling. You can get it here. So that is the tool. Those are the channels. So for you as a data analyst, the tool you need are the things that will help you perform your job, which is why we are doing this training. So you need to identify the tools that you want to use to solve the problem. And then when the data is finally dumped on you, you need to study the data. You don't just jump into data. A lot of data is dirty, very dirty. You need to clean it up. Most data is messy. Trust me, some things will be missing. Some will lose some important data from that information, or some will lose important information from the data. And that's why you need to clean it up. You need to manipulate the data. So You need to study the data to know the trend in that data. That will help you to understand what you need to do about that data. So that's why SQL is very important. When you have the data cleaned up from Excel, you dump it into the database. We will be showing you how you create database today and how you're receiving information, querying information from the database that you created. Two things. You can either create a database or you can import the data from any source. That's another part. But today, I'm going to be showing you how to create your own database because it's your own. You create it. A company can decide to bring a database specialist who is going to be updating the database for them. The company might decide to say, hey, I want a database specialist that is going to be sitting in my office as a cleaner who is cleaning up the data and putting it in the database. Then the job of a data analyst is different. The job of a data analyst is to come into the database and begin to fetch data as required or requested by the organization. So today, we're going to be talking about basic elements of SQL query. So MySQL queries they are SQL functions that help you to access a particular set of records from database. So we have a whole lot of them, and we're going to be talking about them today. The first one is a select statement. We all know that you cannot talk about SQL without talking about select statement. That is the primary language of SQL. Anywhere you hear SQL, select statement is going to come up. The select statement is the first thing you encounter when learning SQL. Without this statement, you cannot do anything because you use it to choose column to be displayed in the output. And the from clause, if you have the select statement, you want to know where you are selecting from. That is another clause you need to learn. Select what from where. So that's another important SQL language that you must be familiar with. Then we have the where. If you're selecting something from a database, where are you selecting? Because you might have a lot of data, a lot of tables in the database. So the where will signify the table you're picking from, right? And then the order by clause. This is used, to display your query in ascending or descending order. You can decide you want to order them by descending order or ascending order when you return the query. And the group by is used to group rows together, rows that have similar values to be displayed in the results. Like if you find names of students from table group by department ID, that means all the outputs would display department students based on department ID. And we have the having clause. The having clause was added because the where clause could not be applied with aggregate functions. Aggregate function could also work like the group by function. So we also have some operators in SQL, and these operators help SQL to work perfectly. The SQL arithmetic operator, you can use this to add, is a mathematical operations to add, subtract, multiply, divide, and get a different results. As we can see right here, we use the arithmetic operator to run this query, and we have the response right here. Like we said, select quantity, that's quantity of a product, and then we added additional quantity. This means that the quantity we have in the database is different. So we are adding something to what we already have in the database. Select quantity, let's say we have, in this case, it's 35. If you can see this right here, this is showing 55. In this case, we have 35 in the database, the first item. And then we said select item, quantity plus 20 as new quantity. So that is going to create a new column in that table or in the database as new quantity. The quantity is going to be there as a row, and then we're going to have another row for new quantity. As new quantity, as you can see here, you are using that as alias. You're changing the name, creating a name. If you use as in SQL, that means you're trying to create a name for your new item that you are querying. And then this is the table that we are picking from. The C's is the database, and the customer is the table. So we are saying that select quantity plus 20 as new quantity from this database from this table. So if you want to combine database and table for your query to run faster, you need to use the database dot table, and then you put the column, then you hit the enter key. You're going to get the result. So this is the result of the query that we ran for this arithmetic operators. So like I said, this was the initial quantity, 35. When we added 20, we got 55. It was 12. When we added 20, we got 32. It was 10. When we added 20, we got 30. So that is how it works. And then we have other compound operators, like your compound operators execute some operators and set an original value to the result of the operation. For example, if a variable at x equals 45, then at x plus 2, we take the original value and add 2 to it, just like we did here. We say if a variable is 35 and we say we are adding 2 to that variable, it's going to the return variable is going to be that in original variable plus the new variable. As seen here, we added 2 to 35 and we got 37. The third one is the logical operators. So the logical operators are used to perform logical operations between two variables. And then the comparison operators test whether two expressions are the same. And comparison operators can be used on all expression except expression of the text and text or image data type. So this is how to create your database. Ironically, my database does not use database. MySQL doesn't use database, it uses schema. You're going to see that when we start creating the table in a minute. So you're not going to see database like when you're using MySQL Server. When you're using MySQL Server, you're going to see database. But in this type of in this type of management system, you're going to see schema instead of database. So the database is where you store all your information or data. In case you don't know what database means, it is where you put all the information of an organization in the system. So the database is made up of multiple relatable tables. We talked about tables last week, and we talked about relationships last week. And the information is stored in table, and you query the data from the table. And this is how to write the code. One good thing about this MySQL is you don't have to write the code out, just as you see right here. When you create the table and you click on execute to apply, it's going to create the code for you. However, it is very important that you understand how this is written. As seen right here, if you want to create a table, the first thing you do is to create table, write out create table, then you pick the database that you want to create table. This is the database right here. So this is how to write the code. Like I said, you actually don't need to write the code, but it's very important that so when you're creating a table in a database, you have to use only letters, numbers, and underscore. Do not use space. If you use space, it's not going to work, as you can see here. So you should not use any note, any word longer than 64 characters. That's where you're doing strings. And it should not be the same as existing keywords that you already use. It must be unique. And the first thing you need to do when you're creating table is to give it a primary key. We talked about primary key last week and foreign key. So you should know what it means. Primary key is very, very important. Last week, I used an example of Social Security in America, that your primary key is a Social Security number. It is primarily assigned to you, and it is your unique identifier. When they say Mariam, and my primary key is Mariam 102, anytime anybody puts Mariam 102, everything about me is going to show up. That is primary key. It gives you your identity. All right. So if you want to create a database, there are a few steps. The first thing is to click the drum icon, this one. That's the new database. We're going to do it together. Don't bother yourself. And then you give it a name and then click apply. When you do that, you're going to see this come up that you're ready to create your database. And these are all the information you want to see in your database. Your ID, the first name, last name, the role database, depending on what you give, because you are creating it too. So it is whatever you put there that is going to show. All right. So what are the different data types? You have the car, which is the length, as you can see right here. So these are all the data types. And when you're putting primary key, it has to be integer because it is number. So there's varchar and there's var and there's car. The car has limited characters and the varchar is longer in length. So the integer holds only numbers. And when you're putting foreign key or primary key, it has to be integer. If you're also putting your date, it has to be integer. If you're putting price, for instance, it has to be integer because price is number. But if you're doing string or text, you have to use varchar. So this is an example of varchar and char. A lot of times people mistake them for each other. The difference is just that with char, you can see indicate the number of lengths you want, maybe 10, 20, 25. And if you put 10, it's fine. It's going to give you space for 10. As you can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm only imputing Mary in the database. It's going to leave the space because you have for the car now, sorry, for the var. Sorry, it has to be car, not varchar. So for this, it's going to hold. It has to be car.
We have some questions.
Okay.
So they're saying, what about Unicode and non-Unicode? Is that possible in MySQL?
Right now, we don't have that in MySQL. Whatever you're seeing right now is what is applicable to MySQL. It could be possible in other management systems, but for this one, you don't have that. As you can see right here, these are all the things you need to build your database and your tables. If you don't have all this, then it won't work.
And someone is asking, is Power BI being covered today?
No, Power BI is next week. We're just going to build a table and then we run some queries today.
And I think some questions from earlier on. Someone said, as a business analyst, do I need SQL?
Yes, you do. You can't run away from SQL.
Okay, and someone says, is SQL a major tool for data scientists too?
Correct, correct. It's a major tool.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that's all for now.
Thank you. Okay, so for varchar, when you put, we have 10, you know, the number that we're going to use for varchar, remember I said the length is different. Varchar holds longer text while the other one holds, you know, not too long, is limited to 64. But usually nobody does more than 64 for string. So for varchar, when you put the value like Mary, it's going to cut off the rest of them. So it's left for you to use, I mean, to pick whatever you want. You can choose varchar, but a lot of people use varchar. So I'm going to unshare and go into my SQL right now. So open up your SQL. For those of you who have downloaded, we're going to create a new database right now, and then we run the query. We want to create inventory database. So like I said, click on this plus sign, that's your new database, and we're going to name it inventory. Right. So once you do that, click apply, click OK. So we're ready to create our new database. You click apply and then finish. So once you do that, refresh. This is where to refresh right here. See all the things you're seeing right here. These are the place, and this is the place your database and your tables will be stored. I already have some tables and databases created because this is where, this is my own, I do my work with this. So we are creating a new database. As you can see right here, inventory is already here. So I'm going to refresh that with this. And then we have the inventory database. There's an arrow beside that inventory database. Click on that to open it up. You're going to see tables, right? So we're going to start creating tables right now. So click on the table, right click, and pick create table. So we are creating table inside that database, and we are going to name that table. And we are naming it product table. Remember, you either use underscore or there's no space. Do not use space. If you use space, it's not going to accept it. So this table is going to be product table. And then,
hi, Mariam.
Yep.
So they're saying you're going fast. If you could slow down.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. So this is where you press the refresh button. See my screen. The icon is rolling right now. See this refresh icon? Click on that. I said, if you want to create a database, go to the tabs on top. Click the plus sign. I don't know, my screen is just freezing. I don't know where it's coming from. Okay, it's freezing again. Okay, so click this drum icon, this database icon right here. Once you click that, it's going to open up. I'm starting from the beginning. Okay, so let me reverse. We have to really listen so that we don't end up not finishing or working like we did last week. So click on this to start a new query. We've not gotten to query. We are still trying to build the database. We already created the database. I said, click on this. Once you click on this icon, it will bring you here. Here, write the name of your database here. Let's say we're going to create database inventory. So you write that. When you're done with that, click apply. I'm going to put 2 because we already had 1. So I'm going to put inventory 2. So click apply. Once it brings this, it's asking if you want to apply the changes you're making. Click OK. Then it brings you here. When you get here, that means it's ready to create your database for you. Right. This is the database inventory 2. Remember, we created inventory before, but because we are starting all over again, we are creating another database. So click apply right here. When you click apply, it's going to tick the box. That means everything is fine. It says SQL script was successfully applied to database. Then it's ready to create the database. Finish. Once you do that, go back to the refresh table and click this refresh. This is where the refresh button is, right here. So when you refresh, you're going to see your new database. This is inventory 2. I don't know if you can see. Let me see if I can pick my pen. Okay. So this is the new database that we created. Can you see that right here? This is the new database that we just created. So I'm going to clear that. All right. So click this arrow beside it. I'm just trying to take my time so I don't rush. We want to start creating tables. So you see the tables, views, start procedures. You don't have any business with all of this right now. All you need to concentrate on is your database and your table. So let me pause and check if we have any questions. Okay, someone is still saying he or she cannot find the refresh button. It's right here. I'm going to pick the pen icon again. This is the refresh button. Can you see it now? This is it right here. Just click on it. I'm taking that off. Okay. Okay, so did you get that now? Okay, make sure you open up this side because you need it. If you need to, can you see all your database? If you can see your database, then you need to scroll up to see it. I mean, it's not even, it's not hidden. It's seen right here. You have to see it. Yeah, Apparently the person is on on administration, so you were probably here. So click schema to open up that space so you can see all your work and all your databases and tables. Good. So we proceed. So we are on inventory 2. So want to create table on the inventory 2 because that is your database. This is one database. This is another database. This one is another database. The school is another database. The SIS is another database. So in each of them, there are different tables. If you can see under school, we have the employee database. And this is a table that was already created. If you look at it, this is the table that was created. This is the table. And there's another table, the faculty table. And that's what we want to do here. We don't have any table here right now. So we just want to create the table. If we have table, once we create table, we're going to see this icon and the name of the table in the database. Remember, our database for this class is inventory 2. So we're going to click on that, right click on table, select create table. When you select that, we're going to give that table a name right here, new table. And that's not the name we want to give that table. So we're going to give product table. So that's the name we want to give that table, right? So we want to start creating our data. We want to create data into that table. So right click here. So the first one is always primary key. So we're going to give primary key, click on primary key. Automatically, it's going to give you the data type. Remember, I said the data type for primary keys has to be numbers because it can be VACA. VACA is string or text, but integer is numbers. So it has to be integer when you click the database. So, and again, you can change the database, the data type here, and you select whatever you want right here. But because it is primary key, automatically picked integer. So I'm going to change the primary ID to something else. So I'm going to put it product 110. So that's the primary key, right? So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to give it a product name, double click it. To get to this point, just double click the next one once you see it highlighted. Let me see, please let me know if I'm too fast. Can we all get it? Are we on the same page? Okay, somebody said lost you. So at the creation of table, just go to table right here, click on it, then right click. When you right click, it's going to bring out this pop-up box. Pick create table. The software we're using is MySQL Workbench, as you can see right here at the top. We sent the installation process, the step-by-step guide last week, and we also ran through it before this class today. So try and catch up with other class members. So create table, once you select that, select create table, and it's going to bring you here that we are right now. And we said we changed the name of the table to product table because automatically it will generate a name for you. So change the name. And once you click on the first one, you click on primary key, it's going to give you an idea of what it should be, that you can change it to whatever you want. So the next one, we're going to give it a company. The next one is company, because we are creating a database, a table. We have our database, right, which is inventory 2. That is where we are storing all this information. If you store in a different database and you're trying to query the same information in another database that you did not store information, you will get error, right? And pay attention to this side. If you go below this, if you go down below right here, you will see this green button. If it's not correct, you're gonna see red. Maybe as we try to run query and we make a few mistakes, you will see it's going to give us a red sign and tell us what went wrong. So all these were good. But anytime we jump or stumble on any problem, it's going to let us know here. So pay attention to what you see down below here. So let me bring this back. Now, so I said company and VACA, I chose 45, not null. Not null means that not empty. So the next thing we are going to do down below, okay, so go to the next line, double click. When you double click, you want to write the next item that you want to see in on that table. So we have the product name.
Hi, Mariam. So they said you're unable to click on the column name, and for some people it's grayed out. What you're saying?
No, they have to double click it like this. They double click it, and if you want to take it away, highlight it, and then right click and delete it. Highlight it right here, right click, delete selected. So let me take this also off, delete selected. So we have the first one, and then the second, we can see the line, and then click on it. Once you click on it, you see the blue line. When the blue line shows, double click. Automatically, it gives you, an idea of what you want to put. You know what you want to put. Like I said, I am putting company. So I just write company because we are putting inventory and product and the company and the price, blah, blah, blah. You can also put not null because you don't want it empty. So the third one, double click it. We are giving that product name. I hope that person was able to solve the problem. Right. Let me take a minute to check the questions that we have. Somebody said you can't find the schema. This is where the schema is. You're probably on administration. That is why you can find the schema. Come to the left side of the computer where you have management, or right here. So click on schema. We are working on the schema. The schema is where the database is located, right? I'm just trying to go through some of the questions. Okay, to refresh, we talked about it right here. Refresh at the top here. Unable to click the column. Okay, I think I answered that. Okay, thank you. So I can go on. Yeah, so the next one we are writing is product name. We put that, also put not null because we don't want it empty. We go to the next one. We are putting quantity. And then this is not going to be VACA. So under that VACA, you see this arrow, the down arrow. Click on it and select integer because we are going to put number. Under the product, the primary key, I'm going to change that to product ID. Then when we are entering the values, I will put the number, product ID. That's what
I think we have a raised. I think we have a raised hand.
Okay.
I think someone has a question. Let me see who that is.
Okay. So someone said a lot of us cannot see the column name. Can the person talk so I understand what exactly the problem is?
Okay, so that's
hello.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So when we put in the product table, when we want to create table, that part that has the column name, we can't, it's so the line is so thin, I can't select anything. The way you have column name, product ID, company, I can't see that line at all. It's so tiny on my own system and I don't know how to expand it. I wasn't even seeing it before. Now that I can see it, I can't do anything.
Did you click on it the way I was doing? Like try to click. Did you see the blue line like this?
I can't see. That's it. I can't.
Okay, somebody is saying you should maximize your screen. Click on this.
My screen is maximized.
Okay.
I'm on.
Okay, so there's a line below it, below that screen like this. It shows this. You can take it up like this, and you can bring it down.
Okay.
Maybe
No
it's covered.
problem.
See,
Okay.
drag it down like this.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Can we
And
take
we
one
have
more question before I go on?
Okay, so Emmanuel.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me? Yes,
Yes.
I don't think the other lady explained appropriately what's happening.
Okay.
The line to expand a particular, I don't know to call it a dialog box, the
This
box
one
where
right
you're
here.
putting in the column name, yes, it's very small. And then if you try to expand it, it doesn't expand down. It only expands each column. Like it can expand column name wider to the side or database,
Like
but it
this.
doesn't open down. It doesn't open. Yes, exactly, just that way. But it doesn't open down to drop the way you're dropping. And because of that, every other thing under it is grayed out.
Okay, so were you able to do what I did to drag it down under this column index foreign key blah blah blah? Can you see this? That something like plus sign moving?
Yes, like what I'm saying is it's
Were you
going
able to
just
drag
sideways,
it
it's
down,
not dragging
up?
down. I've been able
Like
to
this.
drag it just sideways, not down.
You couldn't do what I'm doing right now. This is the grayed out you were talking about.
Okay. Yeah, I got you now.
Yes. So
Right, thank you.
yeah, make sure you drag it down to open it like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, got it.
Okay. So I think I'm going to go ahead. So we have created a quantity. Like I said, it has to be integer because it's going to be numbers. So the last one we're going to create is price. Then we write the price, and then we come here and change it to integer again because it's going to be number. The price and the quantity will be number. So it's not going to be varchar. So right now we have the 3 columns. So what we are doing right now is creating columns. We're going to start putting the value we want to see inside that. So at the end of this, you will see the full query written. And once you're done, can I go ahead? I want to believe yes. Click on apply, because if I click on apply, I can't go back. I have to create another database. So I want to be sure we're all on the same page, please. Okay. Somebody said I should start from product table. So like I said, I'm going to run this through one more time, then we move ahead. Rebecca is raising hand. Can the admin allow Rebecca to ask her question?
Hi, thanks for answering my question. Yeah, so on the default expression with the checkboxes, I realize that the primary key PK is required, and I do apologize. I believe I missed the NN. What does NN stand for?
Not null, not empty. That's
not null. Okay.
Not null. You can see them right here.
I see. And
Okay.
also that a minimum of not null outside of the single column that requires a primary key is necessary to check off here for each column.
Okay.
Is that correct?
No, you can leave it. You can take it off. It doesn't affect whatever you're doing.
Okay, but only a primary key is necessary.
Yes.
For one column.
Yes, just one column for primary key. You don't need to tick the rest of them because they are not primary key.
Okay.
So
all
the
right.
primary key is going to identify each product. You will see that when we give the product name. So each product is going to have a primary key, and you can use that to pull a lot of information about that specific product.
Okay.
That's why we give a primary key.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so we move ahead. Are we ready? We have already created the columns. Remember, when you have a table, there are columns, and there will be information in the columns. So these are the columns we have created. The title of each of the columns is this. So we're going to see product ID, we're going to see the company, we're going to see the product name, we're going to see the quantity, and we're going to see the price. So we're going to click apply. And it's asking me if we should go ahead and accept that. And I said, okay. So automatically the code is created. Remember I said that you don't have to create the code yourself, but you need to know how to create the code, to write the code. So when you want to create a table, the first thing you do is to create table. The create table is used to create table. If you want to create any table or any database, you need to create that. So create table in the inventory tool, that is the database. And this is the table name, the product table is the table name, as we can see right here. And then we open parentheses. So the parentheses that we're opening, we're going to be putting all the information that we want to see in the table. So we said we want product ID, a column. So these are all columns. We want company, we want product name. Remember, these are all the things we created. Like I said, MySQL is very popular because it takes the burden of coding away from you. Once you insert everything you want, it's going to help you write the query. That is the way that management system was built. So it's going to help you create the code that you want to use, for your table. So this is it. And take your time. You can snap it, study it. So this is just how to write the code to create a table. We're going to now put information inside the table. We just created the column. It is empty. And you will see that as we go ahead. So click on apply. Correct. So the script was successfully applied to database. So we now have something inside the database. Remember when we created the database, it was empty. Now we have information inside the database now, but we don't have, supporting data for the columns that we have created. So if we try to query anything, it's going to throw out empty table for us. Then click on finish and apply it. So now we have a table, right? Okay, so let's refresh. Always refresh, always refresh. So we go to table, and we already have the table. Okay, so we see the table right here. This is the table we created. Click on this thunder icon on the table. So we have this table right now. So do we have any question before we start loading information in the table? Remember, I was telling you about creating the column titles. That is what we did when we were putting all those information we did earlier. We're creating all the titles for the table we want to put in the inventory. Remember when we first did this in inventory database, we had table, but we did not, we had the database, but there was no table. Now we have table. So this is the table, but right now the table is empty. So we're now going to be putting the information in it. Are we together? Okay, so I'm going to answer some questions right now. Okay, this person was saying, how do you create other columns? Remember I said when we were creating, let me go to inventory right here. We had not done this, so I'm going to, the inventory tool is what we just created, the table. I'm just going to use this inventory to take it, to teach you one more time. So when you click on that, remember, click on table, right click, create table, and it brings you here. Name your table here. This is the column, double click it, and then you start creating. This is your primary key. The primary key by default, we give you integer because it's the unique identifier. To create another column, come under it, double click and write whatever name you want to give that column. To create another one, double click. And I said, if you're not okay with that, you can right click that column, select it, make sure the blue line is showing, and delete selected. Click on it, make sure the blue line is showing, delete selected. Yes, you can delete, I just did. Okay, so it's freezing again. You're gonna give me a few minutes. I think because the software is laid over Zoom, so it's dragging. Yeah, it's back. So.
Hi, Mariam, we have a raised hand.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, Mariam. Good afternoon.
Good
afternoon. This is Chioma from Lagos. I want to just confirm with respect to the table you just created, for price, if we have price like $1.2, is it still going to be integer or float? Or I don't know, how would we do that?
It could float.
Okay.
And integer could also work.
Okay. But
because
when we create
number, anything that has to do with number is integer.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks for clarifying.
All right. Okay. I can go on, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to the inventory 2. Remember, we're going to be querying from inventory 2. So I go back to this one and I click on the table. So to click on the table, let me close that back. So this is our database, inventory 2. The small arrow, let me pick the pen. The small arrow beside it right here. You need to open this arrow, click on that. So when you click on that, it opens it up. And then this is the table, right? There's an arrow beside the table. Let me clean that off again. So there's an arrow beside the table right here. Click that arrow also to see if there's any table loaded in there. So we have a table. The mock tables you put like this. This is an example of the one that was done before. I did all of this before in another training. And these are all the tables inside that database. So for this, we have only one table here. So if you want to see what is in the table, there are 2 ways to it. It's either you right click it and select rows limit 1000. It's going to bring you here. Or you just click that's a shortcut. It's freezing again. Okay, just give me one moment. All right, we're back. So you can click on this table right here. Okay, so it's not letting me. All right. Okay, so click this thunder icon and then it gives you this. So automatically it's telling you it's already written a query. When you click on that thunder icon to bring down the table, it will give you a query. Select all. If you see any asterisk, that means it's telling you all, everything. You use asterisk for everything in the table. Select all from inventory to the product table. Remember, I told you that to get your table, you need to put the database dot your product table name, which is this. This is your database dot your table, and then column.
Someone said they can't find their created table.
Okay, so refresh. When you refresh, go to inventory 2, the arrow beside it. There's an arrow beside it. I just did that. Yeah, so this is the inventory 2. Click on that, and then you see the table. You might not be able to see the table if you don't open up the arrow like this. Open it, let the arrow face down, and then you see your table, and then you open it. Are we good? So I'm going to start putting the information to impute all the information in the table. The first one, the product ID, we said the product ID is going to be 1022. I'm just putting something random. 1012. And then the company name. So we are giving each of them, we are trying to put data into that table now. Currently, there's no data, so we are putting data. So we'll say the company is Amazon and the product name is Apple Watch. So what we are doing right now, we are creating data into that table. And then we say the price is $250. And the second one is going to be, okay. So to create another one, just double click that where you see no means empty. So just create, double click, and it's going to open it up for you to start typing. And then I put the product ID, and I say again that the company is Amazon. And I say the product is AirPod. And I say the price is $110. sorry, the quantity is 110, the quantity available in the inventory is 110, and the price is 170. And then the third one, just give it time. It freezes because it's a software on a software, so it's lagging. Right. And then we say the third company is Walmart. And then we say the product is airbrush. And then we say the quantity is 110, 2,500. And then we say the price is 30. And then we go to the next one. I'm trying to create enough data in that database so that when we create query, we can play around the data in the database. Like I said, you can import data and you can also create. And I also said that some companies bring in database specialists that do all of this thing that we are doing right now. So you could actually make a lot of money with this career. You can work as a database specialist. All you do is just to help the company to load information, and you drink your coffee and then you go for lunch and then you come back and at the end of the month you collect your salary. So if this is all you can do for the company, you can earn a living doing just this. Trust me. Some companies look for database specialists without you being a database analyst. So it's a lot. Some companies also have data visualization specialists. So if you know all of these things that we are doing, trust me, you're ready for your next big job. I told you last week that I have a friend that all she does for the company is to pull information from database and then turn it into dashboard with Tableau. And then at the end of the day, she gets her salary. That is all she does for that company. And the company is a very, very big company. She earns a lot of money here in the US, and that is all she does every day. Another set of people, she told me, I spoke with her yesterday, she told me she works with other data administrators that just load into the database. All they do is just to send her a mail, the data is ready. She goes into the database, pull up the information she wants, and then take it to Tableau. And she cleans it up, creates a dashboard. You'll be learning how to use Power BI next week. Just create the dashboard, send it to the management, and then they begin to fight in the boardroom on whatever she has sent. The only time she comes is when she has to defend what she did. And then she made the dashboard so easy that when you see it and just watch the dashboard, you can make a lot of meaning from what you are putting there in one pager. So that's another thing you should actually pay attention to. When you're creating the dashboard, you should let your dashboard tell a good story. They should tell a story without you being there. Somebody seeing your dashboard for the first time should be able to depict information with a lot of data, but in pictorial presentation. So that's for next week anyway. So you can earn a living in different segments of this thing that we are doing today. So somebody is saying that, how can I import the Sense database, please? We're not working on that. It's another process entirely, because you have to select either from different data source, either from Excel, you can pick from SQL like we are doing now. Somebody can pick data from here now and take it to, export the data here into Excel and then take it to Tableau or Power BI. So yeah, are there any resources to learn about the injection of data and blah, 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 blah. So I'm not going to answer that. You have to, that one is a different class entirely, because you need another software to download on your computer to be able to import. So it's a software for this, or SQL Server. That's another lesson entirely. So let's continue this and finish this table, because we still have a couple of rows to create. So 1015, and this company is also Walmart. And then we have the product, hair cream. And then we say the quantity is 1,200 and the price is $10. And we have 1016, and the company is Amazon, and the product is Alexa, and the quantity is 230 and the price is 80. And the next one is please try and load the data as I am loading so that you can run your query when we're doing it together. 1017, and we have Amazon. We also have iPhone, and the quantity is 30, and then the price is $1,200. And then we have the last one, no, second to the last one, 18, and the company is Amazon. And the iPhone, the product is Samsung. And quantity is 35, and the price is 800. And the last one is 1019, and the company is Walmart. And the product is Apple Case. And the quantity is 38, and the price is 70. Okay, so we have this done right now. Are we on the same page? Can I go on? I'm going to click apply. So as you can see right here. Okay, so what's the problem? Can the person just ask the question? Somebody said is not on, Oriyomi said he or she is not on the same page. I've already talked about how to create the table. So let me give you 1 or 2 minutes to type all the information. Okay, type the data while I move this to the side and wait for you. Please let me know when you're done so we don't have to go back again. As you're typing, what this did for us is this. When I clicked on apply right here, it created that for us. Remember, we're trying to create. So when you use create table, it's going to create your table with all the column titles that you want to put on the table or in the table. That is what that create table is used to. So only create the column title. But when you want to put information, each line, if you're writing the code, right, each line, as you can see right here, I don't want to block that. So each line you put insert into inventory tool, that is the database, product table, that is the table, the product name. These are all the titles that we put earlier, remember? And then you close it. Then after that, you're going to put values. The values are all these things that we are putting. The first value is the primary key, the product ID, remember? The product ID, comma, then inside the value, because you're going to open the parentheses, you put a product ID, you put a company, you put a product name, as you can see right here, you put the price and the quantity. Somebody is raising hand. So somebody said, does all databases have similar? They are kind of similar. It's just that the difference is just very tiny, very, very tiny. I also use my SQL Server. I like SQL Server, but sometimes in SQL Server, you have to write all of this out. It's also not as complicated as this. This is not complicated at all. I decided to use this for beginners because it makes your life a lot easier. If you understand the concept, you can use any database. That's the truth. All you need to do is to understand the concept and how it is used, understand all the languages, and then you're ready. Okay, so this is what you're going to see. I believe we are all done. What it did is to put all the information. If you want to put all the information, remember the first one is create table. Now we want to insert. We are creating the data, so use insert into. That is the term. You can't change it, whether any database you're using. This is the, okay?
Hi, Mariam. We still have one raised hand, so I'll just unmute them.
All right.
Hello.
I'm listening.
Hello, Mariam.
Yeah.
Please, after creating the tables, how am I going to move it into the database? I mean, how am I going to see the database? Now, I think there's something you clicked.
Okay, I just clicked apply. Can you
I'm
see
not
apply?
I'm not talking about inserting values now. After the tables were created, I think you clicked on something that brought out the codes.
I just clicked apply.
Apply.
Yes, that's what I did. Let me close this. Let me go back to that inventory that we were trying to use. Okay, create table. When you create it, it's freezing again. Okay, so when you get here, once you are done doing whatever you want to do, blah, 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 everything, just click apply here, that's all. Do you get it now?
Yes. Yes.
So once you click apply, it's going to give you that code. And then it takes you to the next. So we are here. Oopsie. I guess we lost all of that. Damn it.
Someone is saying, do we need Python as data analyst?
Sorry?
Do we need Python? Do we need to know Python as data analyst?
Yes, it's a must. You can know it, but not all companies request for it. If you want to be a data analyst, Python is for data scientists, actually. Data scientists. So you need to look, if you want to be a data scientist, like I said, decide where you want to be. If I were you, I'm going to take it a step at a time, because while you are doing this, you're going to be working with data scientists. Sometimes it's not one cap fit all for everyone. Different companies with different requirements. You can go ahead and learn it. It's a must. It's good to have, you know. But for a data analyst, I think you're good with SQL, Excel, and any visualization tool. Are we good?
We're good to go.
Yeah. Okay. So I got that table back. So right here. So click apply, and then we have all of that. I was saying that to create your table, you will use insert into. It is the same, no matter the management system you're using, it's the same, whether SQL, whether Oracle, anything. So far it is SQL, is a common SQL language. Create table, insert into. That's when you insert all the columns, just as we did. That just made our life easier. And then the values, this is the code. This is how to write the code. And this code's here. If you copy this code and put here, it's going to do the same thing that we did to create this table for you. So once you're done, click apply. So it says SQL script was successfully applied to database.
I love those, but they're your responsibility. You got to show them how to do that.
Can we mute that person, please?
We're going to challenge you on all aspects of what we do. Power, speed, endurance.
Thank you. So once you do that, before I click on finish, let me see comments. How do you recover your data? Some data, if you delete, you lose them entirely. So be careful when you're deleting. Some of those things that we deleted, we lost them. The delete is very difficult. I mean, you have to be very careful or else you lose everything. Yeah. Somebody says it's downloading. We have over 150 people. Please just play catch up. Let's go ahead so we don't keep holding people back. So when you see execute SQL statement, it says that SQL script was successfully applied to the database. Click on finish. When you click on finish, refresh. And then if we take that table off now, click on the icon. So we have our table. Yeah, we are done creating the table. The next thing for us to do now is to start querying this data. I always use this because when I do this, I have an idea of what is inside each of the table. Now, you've seen how to create table. Let me go to another table that I already created before. Like this table, okay? If you use select all from cs.customers, CS is the database. Remember I said database.table, and then you put the column, and then you hit this. You use this to save your script for future. You can always come back to the script. Use this to run the query, to execute the query, you know. So I'm not sure you need any of this at this moment. If you just want to pull your query, just go ahead, select all, understand how to write a query and all of that. So we are done with the third item of today. We said we're going to run through the SQL languages. We did that. We said we are creating database. We did that. And we said we're going to create table inside the database. We did that. So I'm showing you this so you have an idea of how tables look. If you use select asterisk from, you are indicating where you want to pick from database and table, and then run it. You'll be able to see, remember I said you study your data. So when you select all from that database, you're trying to see what is inside the data. Sometimes you have a very large database, not something small that you're seeing like this. The database is so huge, and you have to look for certain information from that database. That is when you start running your query. Let me go back to our inventory too, so that we can all be on the same page. So you can, as you continue to add items into your inventory. So when you have this, and a company have a database specialist, and you get new products, somebody is raising hand. I don't know if the admin wants to allow you to talk now or later.
Oh, so I wanted to ask, thank you very much for your time so far. I wanted to ask, when, in the case of large companies who have very large databases,
right,
will someone actually sit down to type this information one by one? Or is it possible to upload maybe from an Excel or something and get it on SQL to do what you need to, and then you can query on SQL instead of typing one by one? Like
I mentioned that before. That you can. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm just doing this to give us an idea of how to create a database from the scratch and how to build tables into your database from the scratch. Like I said, some companies just decide to have this as another role for someone, because you can import or you can upload data, and you have new products coming in and you need to put that in your database. So a database specialist can do this and just add the new product, new SKU, new whatever they want to add, new location or change. Maybe you're importing, you've already imported data and there's a change. The database specialist will go there and effect all the changes. If you want to change anything in your table, right-click that table. You can alter table here. Just go down, alter the table like so. It brings you back here. And then you can make your changes, change the name, add whatever. And then when you're done, you click apply. Right. And then right-click, you can delete table. And if you drop the table, sometimes you will not find the table again. You have lost all the information. We can also truncate, but be careful with all of this so you don't lose vital information. So I go back to the table. We are going to be writing the queries now. The first one. Okay, I don't have the same value. You can have the same value as primary key. I'm not sure I have the same value as primary key here. And I'm not understanding this question. I don't have 1005 at all here. Oh, thank you. Okay, so let's go ahead and run our query. So right now we want to find all the products from a particular company. We want to find all the products from Amazon. So we're going to do select product name. So once you start using it, it will be suggesting for you. Once you use this database once or twice, it will suggest for you so you can pick from. Select product name. We are writing a query now from inventory to, that's the name of the inventory. Like I said, so he brought it out, double click it, dot product table. You might bring that also, brought it out, right? Where, okay, sorry, from select product name from inventory to where, yeah, company, where company equals Amazon. So when you're writing string, you quote it. So we are trying to bring out all the products that came from Amazon. So we don't want to start looking, we just want to write a query to retrieve that information. So we have that now, highlight it and hit the select button. So it brought it out, so it worked. So what it did, we just said, select product name from inventory, that's the database, where company is equal to Amazon. And we got this. How many people got that? Do we have a question about that? Okay. How did I select the line? Which line? Oh yeah, just enter, press enter. Just press enter, then you get to. So this is it, just press enter, go back up, enter, go back up. So remember, we already had a query here. If you select all this, let's do this, it will not return. Okay, it still return, perfect. Sometimes it will not. So always select. So this is just what we were looking for. This is specific query. Remember I talked about querying specific information. So we just queried that from the database without stressing us. Imagine you have a long list of them. So you want to know all the product that came from Amazon, and we got that. If you want more than one item, let me go back to the table. So all of this. So we don't want to see only the product name. We want to see also the quantity. So you put a comma, come back to this query. It's freezing. So you come back to this query right here, put a comma, and then you put quantity. So it's going to give you suggestions, just pick it. And then we run it again. So right now it gives us the product name and the quantity that came from Amazon. You can also change this. We don't want to see only Amazon, we want to see Walmart. All the products and the quantity that came from Walmart. Select that, run it. This is Walmart. So the SQL is very important for data analytics. You can take quick decision. You can find information easily writing the query. You need to understand all this information when you are running your query because it makes your life a lot easier. We can also write another query. We want to find out products that the quantity is less than 100 or more than, let's say quantity more than 100. So let's write a query. When you highlight, just go to the tab, click the thunder icon right here at the top, right here. And then it's going to run the query for you. So far, we've not seen any bad queries, so everything has been good. That's why we see all this green. If we hit any error, it's going to show, instead of green, we will see red. Let me try and show you what I'm saying. So when you see the red, you're going to see what the problem is. It's freezing. It will bounce back. Just give it 1 second. Right, we're back. So let's say I take this from away and I try to run the query. See, you can see it's telling me right now that there's something wrong. So I hit, you see the red thing, you have an error in your SQL syntax. Check the manual that corresponds. So there's something wrong because I removed the from. It doesn't know where to pick this information I am asking. So the query is there, but it's lost. That I'm confused. Where do I look for this information? So select product name quantity from. So we're going to put the from back, and then we see that. And we run the query, and they give us back what we want. So let's say we want to find product quantity that are more than 1,000. Yeah, let's say that are more than 800. Select items, because that's the way the question is going to come. Like maybe your manager is just gonna ask you, can you get me products quantity? How many product has more than 1,000 in the warehouse, so that we know how to run a promo, we know what to do, and then what location. Let's say we have location in this place now. We're going to select all the items, quantity, location, and company, so that we know the company and the quantity that we have larger. We have larger quantity, so we know what to do. And then if there's location, we can start talking to people from that location to know what to do to help them solve the problem.
Hi, Mariam. Someone said,
yes.
If I want to check the company at the same time, do I use comma to include the company?
Yes. So let me add this. We have already put the company here, remember. So it's putting, let's say, okay, that means we take this away. Let's run that statement separately. Select.
Okay, and then another person said, can we merge two columns from different tables?
Yes, we can. We use join to do that. We use join to do that. So this person is saying, do you need an exact cell match? It's going to pull it out. See all of these things. It pulled out all the companies that have Amazon. Let's say, let me go back to this. I'm just trying to answer the question one after the other. Sorry. I'll come back to the company. Let's say I put this Amazon. Then you're not doing something right if your query is not working. Just look at the query that I wrote and write the exact thing on your in your software and run it. So I said select product name, quantity from inventory, where company. So everything that has to do with Amazon, everything, it pulled it out. Sorry, I didn't select the right thing. Everything. So these are all of them. Okay, so if I want the query to have Amazon, this is just what I'm going to do. Select product name, company, and company. And I run it. Save. So the query is going to change. Simple. Do you get it now? So you have the company, the quantity, you know, select the, so if you want to add the select product ID and we run it, it's going to add that also. Remember, specific information. Specific information. So these are the three items that we asked. We said we want product ID, we want quantity, and we want company. So it brought out all of that for us. If you want to add price to it, we can add price to it. And we have the price. I was trying to run another query using some numbers. Right. So select price plus, remember the one that we talked about the last time about arithmetic plus 20 as new price. From inventory. We're trying to see if we can have a new column that wasn't there before. See, what we did, the price, we just added it. We just added the new price. We did this before. We can run queries like this. What name did you use? You have to use the name that you use. It's just to understand the name that you use to run the query. You can't use, if you use a different name that is not in the database, it will not find it. It's just going to tell you can't find the information, or it will give you error. Are we all good? So the final query I'm going to run is, I'm going to select all from inventory 2. Okay, so let me do select product name. I want to find all the items that are less than the, that have values less than 1,000. Also, product table. So I said, give me product name from inventory from the database where quantity is less than 1,000. So these are all the product names that have values less than 1,000. So I'm adding the initial quantity. Right. So this one helps us see the values that actually, they are real values, to know whether they are less than 1,000 or not. So we can see. So the query, yeah, we can create a sample table from, just query what you want. You are the one that will select what you want from that lot table. Yeah, so I mean, I have just 5 minutes to round up this. If you have any question, let me know. It's just for you to start querying whatever you want based on the information that you need. Remember that I said, you know, product name, quantity, you see, less than 1,000. And if we want to find products that are greater than 1,000, and you run the query, are going to see the ones that are greater than 1,000. So we have only 2 items greater than. So that's exactly how to run the query. If you have any question, let's take a few minutes to answer questions before I leave. Thank you very much.
So we have a raised hand, so just unmute them.
Sorry, you have one?
So we have a raised hand, Christy.
Okay, Christy.
Okay, hello, Mariam.
Well
done. I really enjoyed the class because I so much believe this is just the basis. And if we have to go extra lengths, maybe we might need to download some materials and all that. So my question is this. I just have a thought. Maybe, for example, now, like a store like Jumia, for instance, like, can these codes, can they work real time? For instance, if a customer is making an inventory or is making a purchase now, like we had 500 items on the shelf, probably in the database now, then a customer is purchasing 10 out of those 500. Now, after purchasing those 10, you know, the remaining item wouldn't be 500 again. Now, is it the work of the data analyst to now write a code real time as orders are being made? Then probably the database is being updated at the same time. How does it work? Okay, so you're going to have dates, that kind of data. You have dates that the order was received or inventory was received, the product was received. So you will have the dates. So when you query, you're going to see the balance. Okay. And you're going to see the original value. What the database administrator will do is to add another column and write a code there to create that and add it so that as the orders are going down, it is updating. Because the customers will be able to see it from their end too. Exactly. So customers might not be able to see, but the owner of the company will see. Will see. All right. Okay, I get it. Thank you. Yeah. So that is basically it. If you guys want to learn more, we have a bootcamp coming up
in a few weeks. If you want to join, we are going to have a bigger database to work with. And if you want to really flow from the beginning of different tools that you need to get started, feel free to follow me on social media at Miss Mimi Official on Instagram. I have a lot of information that will be coming up, and we're going to be having a lot of training coming on because we have people that really want to learn. Thank you so much for having me.
Hi, Mariam. Before you go,
sorry, Mariam.
Sorry, Abel. Can you hold on?
Okay.
So we have our survey and our testimonials. I'm going to attach it to the chat. Please, we would like for everyone to fill it out. Please, we're going to email it to you guys as well, but I'm going to include it in the chat as well. So please fill up the testimonials and the survey. Yeah, go ahead, Abel, before we end.
All right. Thank you, Mariam, for your time so far. I just wanted to ask, after inputting our query, are we supposed to click on something that would then give us the query we input?
Yes. This icon,
Okay.
this thunder icon, like this is highlighted now. Click on the thunder icon. Like this is highlighted. These are different queries that I run, you see. All of them, they're different queries. So you can keep all your queries, you know, and just keep going down, adding new queries, and then you're good.
I've been doing that, but it's not
Do you have this blue button here? If it doesn't have this blue button, if you see this blue button, then your query is correct.
Yes, I have the blue button.
Highlight it again and click it. Click the thunder icon. It will bring it. Try and always refresh. Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Hi, Mariam. Can you please drop your Instagram handle, your social media handle?
Yeah, please. I'm dropping it in the comment section. Like I said, we're having a boot camp soon for full data analysis career. And it's going to have all the things you need. It's going to have everything you want in there. We have Excel, we have SQL, we have Tableau, and we have PowerPoint presentation and a lot more in that. It's going to be a 4-week training if you want to be. Testimonial, like I said, we have testimonial last week. I mean, the last training we had, 3 people got job and then they are really happy with what they did. So if you want to learn and start doing better thing and having a better future, get the right skill. Thank you for having me, everyone. I'm trying to send my okay, somebody already sent it to my Instagram handle. I mentor after bootcamp if you want to. Thank you.